again. Continuing the story of our trip to France, so with the Woggle Box and two crazy dogs. This one's a bit about what you need to do to take your furry friends across La Manche in these post-Brexit times. Thank you, Brexiteers. And make sure you're legal and safe and tick all the boxes that are to be ticked. Looking forward to your holiday? Si oui, papa. Très bien. It used to be that you got your pet passport, make sure all your vaccinations are up to date, including rabies for most EU countries, and had your dog wormed before you came back to dear old Blighty. Not anymore. The worm treatment is still mandatory, so you'll need to find a French vet to do that within about a week before you come back home. I think it was about €15 last time we were there with the dogs, which was 2017. So it's no doubt gone up by now. As well as the rabies vaccinations and all the other pet vaccinations, you now need a health certificate for each animal that you're travelling with. The certificate lasts for 4 months, but I've had conflicting advice as to whether that 4 months includes every holiday you take within that period, or it needs to be renewed for each separate holiday. Check for yourself with your vet just to be sure. And the rabies jabs need to be administered no less than 14 days before departure. Something to do with it being a live vaccine, and needs to make sure there's no reactions, whatever. But the health certificate has to be done no more than 10 days before departure. And acquiring this a wondrous document involves a basic health check, such as your vet would normally do on an annual checkup with your pet. And you complete several pages of a questionnaire about where you're going to and about your pet before you go. Your vet then completes a form, which is 14 pages long, although a lot of it is redacted, it's just not applicable, blah, blah, blah. And this wondrous document lets you pay a lovely charge of £110 per animal. And that's the minimum charge. Wonderful practice charges £140 each per animal. No comment. You need to make sure that this document and all their other vaccination documents, vaccination records, go with you and are accessible for when you arrive at the point of departure. So best thing to do is keep the vehicle with you. We're opting for the ferry crossing from Dover to Calais because it's a shorter journey. And although the dogs are caged in the car, literally behind us, they're still left on their own in the car while you're travelling. 90 minutes is no big deal. I think it's fair to leave them for that amount of time. Although if you do use a longer crossings from Portsmouth or Plymouth to Le Havre or Caen or Saint Malo, for instance, or any of the other destinations are a bit further around on the west coast of France, some of those ferries do have pet-friendly cabins, exercise areas and all that sort of thing. You pay your money, you take your choice. For us at the time, balancing up the cost of fuel for the longer route against the cost of the longer ferry was neither here nor there, apart from the fact that it's more driving involved going to the west of France from Calais. But since then, fuel prices have had a bit of a hike, as you may know. So maybe it would have been a different decision if we were making that decision now. Something I've recently discovered only in the last week or so is that it's not permitted to take meat or dairy products into France, which includes dog meat. The law says you can take up to 2 kilograms of prescription dog food. So if you're thinking of taking a couple of months worth of chappy, then you might want to be careful about that in case they decide to confiscate it, should they decide to check your vehicle. We've never had a caravan checked in all the times we've been over there. I think I've heard about somebody having their gas checked to make sure it's turned off before they travel. But apart from that, it's just the usual sort of checks for refugee stowaways, that sort of thing. Canned food that we recognise is readily available in France anyway. So it's easy to buy it over there. If your dogs, cats take dried food or complete food, then you can probably take that anyway, so it's neither here nor there. Check for yourself anyway. Anything I'll tell you now is my opinion and my own understanding of things, so just make sure that you check for yourself and don't take my word for it. So that's that. All we need to do now is teach Dexter and Daisy some commands in French so that we don't incur anybody's wrath. So, viens ici, asseyez-vous. Très bien. Bien, chien. See you later.